Welcome. It's the 5 steps to rebuilding trust in your marriage. And I'm kind of excited about this one, but I'm also like a little bit nervous because we're hitting on a subject that hits really close to home, at least for me. If many of you have watched the podcast or listened to the podcast, kind of know of our story and the things that I did to really cause significant damage and loss of trust, loss of respect in our relationship for a long time. And it's taken a long time for me to build that back with Amy, and I still don't know that I'm 100%, but I'm constantly working on it. So, in this podcast, I think it'll be a great podcast. I think Amy can share some of the things that she's had to do to let me, I guess, gain that trust back. And then also the things that I've had to do to hopefully gain that trust back. So,
And when he talks about trust, we're talking about financial infidelity in our marriage. That's what we're talking about.
yeah, exactly. And if you don't know our story, just go listen to some of our other podcasts. I think we've shared it a bunch of
Have
times.
we? I don't
We
know if
haven't
we've
got,
shared like the whole deep story, but I don't know that anyone needs that.
yeah, I was gonna say we haven't shared like all the details. It's painful to share, but we share enough that I think people get an idea of, well, kind of what happened. So.
I think that every couple has dealt with some kind of trust something, whether it's just lusting or whether it's a porn addiction or maybe it's been a full-on infidelity in some way. Sometimes we lose trust in little ways in our marriages just by not doing what we say we're going to do, and it could be simple things. So trust is something I feel like can go a lot of different directions. It can be on a big scale, a massive scale, a small scale, but it really just takes things. It's like a daily occurrence, like building trust, I think, in marriage is something that you work on all the time,
Yeah.
right?
Well, and I think too, once you've lost or when you're on the end where someone's betrayed you or done some things to make you lose that trust, like it takes a long time to get that back. Like Amy said, it takes a long time to say, I'm not going to let your guard down. Like you got to earn this back. And it's hard, right? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it really is. It's hard for both spouses. It's hard for the one trying to trying to make amends, trying to make things better, and it's hard for the spouse to say, how do I not let my guard down enough to where this happens again, but also, be forgiving. And so sometimes it can be hard to find that balance.
Mm-hmm. And trust is built over time. Like when you ruin trust in whatever way that looks like, patience and time can heal a lot of the times, depending, on what it is. Obviously, we're supposed to forgive and move on and all those things, but trust is built over time. It's your actions and how you prove to be trustworthy, and that takes doing things that are trustworthy over and over to build that,
Yeah.
right? Right.
All right. I think it is
Okay.
appropriate that we share just a real quick minute or so of like the experience. So like Amy said, I made some financial decisions behind her back. I felt like, hey, I'm the husband. I need to just, take care of things. I got us in a bad financial situation. I kept promising Amy, hey, this business isn't working out. I'll go get a job instead of focusing on this business. And I continued, I was very addicted to the business, just trying to make this business get off the ground and succeed. And I put us in a really bad financial situation. I made some financial decisions uh, on my own that caused a lot of hardship with our marriage and our family, thinking that, oh, I'm the man. I've got to deal with this. I don't want to put the extra pressure on her. Those were obviously excuses. But that kind of gives you a little bit of a glimpse as to, what happened in our relationship and why we feel we can really speak on this subject. So,
I think we need to dive a little bit deeper because some people are going to roll their eyes and be like, that's not that big of a deal. What happened was it like was over a 10-year span. I took on all the financial hardship on my shoulders and had to fully support our family while raising four little kids. There was hardly any income coming on. We had multiple investment properties. We lost everything. We were on food stamps. I mean, we hit like beyond rock
rock bottom,
bottom,
yeah.
lost everything. The stress was all on me. This kept going. Like Nick said, what really hurt was okay, if I don't have this business doesn't pay off by October, I'll get a job. Then the next June. If it's not here by June, I'll get a job. And then
I kept
October,
seeing the mirage out there.
you
Oh, I can
did.
see it. Yeah.
And so the fact that he kept making like true promises to me that he was going to fix the situation and take the financial burden off me, even just a little bit. I don't mind working and supporting, but like everything was on me. And so those promises, like it went years. It went years. And so I finally got to a point where like I don't trust you anymore. Like and the debt that he was taking on. So like for the wives listening, picture like putting yourself through putting your husband and sacrificing everything and being the financial provider while doing everything else too, putting your husband through medical school, and then at the end there's no degree and nothing but debt. So that was our situation. Like the business never paid off. It got very, very toxic with the partnership. It all fell apart like 10 years into it, 15
Yeah.
years. I don't even know how freaking long it was. We try to forget now. And there was no payoff at the end, but zero and a whole bunch of debt and a whole bunch of resentment and a whole bunch of lack of trust. So that's more our story.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Not that he wasn't like trying to be a good husband. It's not that he was like trying to be deceiving or untrustworthy. It's just like this is where addiction comes in, right? And it can happen in many different forms. I think a lot of husbands and wives experience addictions that start hurting their family. They try to get out and try to get out, and the trust keeps getting broken a little bit more and a little bit more. And so everyone's story is completely different. But when you get to that breaking point, it does take time to build trust back.
For sure.
If you make it through it, which
Yeah.
we did. I was committed, he was committed, and thank goodness we had to come to one day where I was like, this is going to change. This has got to stop. I think everyone, no matter what that looks like in marriages, we all kind of come to some breaking point, right?
I come to Jesus, is what we'll call it. So, anyways, as we go through, well, I bet with most marriages out there, there's something that's been done, maybe on a very minor scale or maybe on a major scale, right? Like Amy said, maybe it's hiding a pornography addiction, it's betrayal of trust financially, it's whatever it is. I'll bet you most marriages out there have some level, whether it's very, very minimal or substantial, where a spouse has lost trust or had to rebuild trust in the relationship. And so hopefully these can help. I think these are the things that we had to do, that I had to do. And hopefully they've worked. I mean, I don't expect everything to be 100%. It's probably going to be a lifelong process to try to regain that trust back. But I'm willing to do that. And as long as we're improving and making those steps, it's all worth it. So the first thing you absolutely have to do, is you have to take full responsibility and show remorse. I think for me during this, there was a time where I didn't take full responsibility and I really didn't show remorse because I was still continuing to try to just like maybe I got a little defensive even, and like it's real easy to point the finger, but you have to take full responsibility for your actions. Say, you know what? I totally screwed up. I am sorry. It won't happen again. And you have to truly have that remorse, to truly feel sorry for what you've done. Because your spouse is going to be able to see right through it if you don't feel that remorse. They're going to be able to say, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's you don't really feel remorse. And I could say for several times I told Amy I'm really sorry to, and I really did feel bad, but I kept going because I'm like, okay, if this pays off, it'll solve all the problems. Everything will get better. And I just kept digging a deeper and deeper and deeper hole. And a lot of times we do that. So
My favorite quote when it comes to like trust and forgiveness is sorry needs change. You can say you're sorry over and over and over and over, but you're actually wrecking trust in your marriage when you say sorry and change does not follow. And I think that's really important no matter what you're struggling with when it comes to like losing trust is your spouse is not going to be able to trust you until you make a change, until you fix the problem or stop doing what you're doing. Like sorry means change, right? Like we
yeah,
have to be, if we're truly sorry about something, we're going to fix it.
Make a
We're
change.
going to make a change. So,
Yeah, no, I'm
yeah.
glad you pointed that out.
That
That's so
that was the
true.
day that I finally was like, okay, I can this trust healing journey, forgiveness journey is starting because I see change like right now. Like the day that we said, okay, no more. We're walking away. We're done. These are the things we're going to start implementing in our marriage. We're going to change our marriage. Change our marriage. That's
Yeah.
when the trust could start getting rebuilt,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, totally agree. Um, the next one is you have to commit to complete honesty and transparency. That means like no secrets. Like I'll use this as example just because we hear about this a lot in the people that we talk with. But let's just use pornography as an issue, right? Like if a spouse slips up, instead of just saying, "Okay, I slipped up. I'm not going to say anything to anyone. I'm going to keep it secret." That would mean going and saying, "You know what, sweetie? I totally slipped up today. I'm really sorry. Here's what I need from you. Can you help me with this?" And I think too, when you're fully transparent with something, you're now inviting your spouse to help
Right.
you and support you. And number one, and number two, when you're fully transparency, it shows to your spouse that like, oh my heck, I can trust him. Like he's coming to me with this awful thing that I never would have known,
Mm-hmm.
and he's coming to me telling me that he screwed up, and I know it must have been extremely hard for him to admit that. That as hard as it may be, that's going to create a lot of trust a lot quicker. Even if you screw up, your spouse is going to know that, oh my heck, I can trust them because they're letting me know they screwed up.
Because they're honest.
Yeah.
Because trust comes from honesty, right? So like in our situation, we haven't dealt with that, thank goodness. But in our situation, if Nick would have came to me and be like, I'm struggling with this, I want to talk to you about that, like honesty and emotional intimacy during these things is built from being vulnerable, like you said, and being honest. That changes everything, right?
Mhm.
So if you're like, okay, how can you help me? This is what I'm going through. In our situation, I was going to say is he started taking on debt because of our situation. This is before I started working full time and kind of taking everything off my shoulders. But for a few years, it was like debt. It just, I didn't even know about it. And so that's what hurt so bad. And that's what hurts so many people is the secret. Is the secrets.
For sure.
So
Exactly.
honesty and saying, I'm struggling with this. I made a bad decision. I'm coming to you because I need you. We're a teammate. This marriage is the most important thing to me. Like even if you slip up or something, or you lie, or you do something, like if you come and admit it and say, I need you, I want, like that just builds team. It just builds teamwork, and that's what intimacy is, right?
Well, yeah, and I don't know the exact percentages, but I would say 9 out of 10 couples, like if you screwed up and you opened up to your spouse and said, you know what, I screwed up. Can you help me? Can you support me? 9 out of 10 spouses are going to be like, thank you for letting me know.
Well, it
Like,
depends on what it is.
well, yeah,
Yeah,
but rather than finding out that it's been secretive, right?
right,
Like that's
right.
that's what really pisses your spouse off, so to speak, right? Is like they find out,
Oh, once you lie, like it takes, I don't want to say it takes years because it depends on what it is. But once you lie and you wreck that, like it's hard to trust again. It's
well,
hard to
and
trust again. Like you're like, you are my one person. We committed to each other to be honest to each other. So when that happens or you break a commitment that you made, it's hard to just all of a sudden be like, I mean, I wish as human beings we could just be like, you're forgiven, everything's great. But like we're humans, so
oh
it
yeah.
takes time to build that back. And I think that on both sides that needs to be understood that it takes time.
But I'm glad you brought up the lie part because you could look at it and say, well, she never asked about it, so I wasn't lying. I
Right.
just didn't tell her about it. But if you're keeping those big things from your spouse, then whether it's technically lying or not, like it's wrong, right?
Well, it doesn't
Like
even have
it's
to see, you said big things, but it can be like you went and did something after you played golf and you didn't tell your spouse, or you said you had a work meeting and you went and played golf. Like it can be little tiny things that's like just be honest. Because if you find out that your spouse did something that they said they were like that's different than what they said they were going to do, I mean, there's just
I've
lots of levels of this.
I've
Do you know what
had
I mean?
many work meetings on the golf course, just so you know.
Yeah, I already knew that one. But But I'm just saying, like, it's we're not even talking like massive stuff. Like when you do little lies, when you do little breaking commitments, like a lot of women are like, I nag because you never do what you say you're gonna do. Like even this, like, will you fix this? And then like we hear this a lot. Like this doesn't happen in our marriage, but like I ask him to do this, and then I have to say it again, and then the next week it's still not done, and then a month later it's still not done, and I have to, and then it turns into I'm nagging. Like a lot of women say this. Husbands like, and this goes both ways, but if you say you're going to do something, that's part of being honest and part of being trustworthy too, is if doing what you say you're going to do, right? So this comes with great communication. It comes on all different levels and
Yep.
different scales, right?
Yep.
So
So how do you feel about like rebuilding trust when how do you feel trust rebuilds when you're vulnerable? Like if someone opens up and says, "You know what, I totally screwed up. I'm so sorry." How do you feel like that being vulnerable helps rebuild trust as well too, even if sometimes you're screwing up? Or do you?
I think that's the first step to being like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And I think it's honest when you are sorry about something and you're willing to admit you did something, right?
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, I think that's huge. I mean,
I think it's
I
easier
got
for women to be vulnerable too. I think it's a lot harder. I'm not saying like this goes both ways. Please understand that we're saying women do stuff too.
yeah,
This goes both ways. We can both lose trust. We can both build trust. But I think women have an easier, more natural time at being vulnerable with things than men do. So men might often feel like I don't want to burden her with this. Like in our situation, he's like, I don't want to really dump this on her. She's raising the kids right now. She's doing all the mom stuff, the nurturing things, the house things. And I'm supposed to be the provider, right? That was your
yeah,
mentality and got us in a real situation. So it just comes down to communication always.
yeah, for sure. The other big thing that I think is overlooked a lot of times is you've got to be patient, and that means patient on both ends, right? Like we hear from a lot of spouses that like let's just use an example like the husband does something wrong and he immediately wants his wife to forget about it and move on, and if she doesn't, he's getting bent out of shape, right? Like
Mhm.
you have to recognize that like Amy said, it takes time to rebuild back that trust. And it might take a month, it might take 2 months, it might take years to rebuild that trust. And that's okay, I think, as long as you're moving in a positive direction. But I think it's important to recognize that you need to be patient with each other. Need to be patient to recognize, like, I screwed up. It might take my wife a little while to trust me again, and I just need to try to do my best and be vulnerable and open and honest and recognize that I caused pain. And, it might take a little bit of time to let that trust be rebuilt instead of
Right.
getting impatient, saying, "Why can't you forgive me? I told you I was sorry."
Right.
And then, letting that cause conflict.
I think there's a real balance to this one because yes, I believe that when you just keep bringing something up because you're hurt, I mean, we
And
bring stuff up over and over because we're hurt, right? And we're like, you should have to pay for what you did. There's such a balance because yeah, like she or he are going to bring this up for quite a while. Like if you really hurt them, this is normal. Like this conversation is probably going to happen and be like, I don't know, just because we're
but
human, right? But on the other side of things, like talking about it and bringing it up constantly is never going to help you heal at the same time. So
yeah,
yeah, like depending on what, I mean, I can't say what the timelines are. It depends on the situation. Like if it's a little white lie, it's like, okay, moving on. I know you're sorry. That's over. You know what I mean? But when
yeah,
something big like our situation, like, yeah, it took us a really good year. We went through a lot. Like we went through a lot. Like it took us a good year. We had lots of discussions. We had to talk about things. We had to set new goals together. Like we had to completely revamp our marriage in a lot of areas and fix a lot of the damage that had been done. And so depending on what level, like pornography, infidelity, those kind of things could take a lot of therapy, a lot of healing, a lot of communication. And so yeah, it's how you do it too. It's
yeah.
it's
I was
how
gonna
you do it too. You can't just like nag, nag, nag. Like I can't believe you did that. I still can't believe, and just constantly trying to bring it up to like because you're so
to
resentful. That's
because that inflicts harm on the person again, right? Like if Amy were to say, you did this to me 6 years or 8 years or 10 years ago and keeps bringing it up, that's going to be used as a weapon to hurt me or inflict harm or to remind me of like you're not forgiven, like I'm still not over this, right? And that's what I'm saying is if you're not over it, that's okay, but you've got to be progressing, and at some point you do have to let things go. Even if you're still remembering it and it's still on your mind, at some point you still have to try to, not use it to inflict harm to your spouse. Because every time you do that, it's also going to cause your spouse to be like, he or she, they're never going to forgive me. Like I got no chance. I can never move on. They're never going to forgive me. And it's going to put up that barrier to keep your relationship from ever healing or getting back to hopefully where you want it.
And once again, I think that's how you do that too. I think you can have conversations down the road without like coming at them and making it become a big deal again. But I think we can, in mature ways, can learn from the situations that we go through. And if that is brought up in the past, it's how you do it. It's the tone you use. It's not the I can't believe you did this tone. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, for
But I'm
sure.
so glad that we learned from that and that we've healed from that. Like, yeah.
Yeah. And I love the last one. And I like this because it's almost like do a reset or create a new foundation together. And again, I understand you can't hit a reset button and everything's just going to go back to perfect. But I do feel like, at least in our situation, I don't know how Amy feels, kind of putting her on the spot. Maybe she doesn't want to say, but for me, I kind of feel like I have two different lives, right? I had the life and the marriage before, and I almost got like baptized again, so to speak, and all that happened was gone, and now I can kind of start new. At least for me, that's the way I feel, and I think I needed to feel that way, like that. Okay, the Nick that did that in the past is gone. He's not going to do that again. He's never going to make that mistake again. And that allowed me to be able to put that in the past and move on. So when I talk about hitting the reset button, yeah, it might not be for both you and your spouse. Maybe they can't hit the reset button, but even if it's a reset button just mentally for you to be able to say, okay, I made some mistakes, I did some things, I lost trust or whatever. At least for me, like hitting the reset button just for me personally and saying, okay, I'm a new person. I can't control what happened in the past. The past is done. Can't do anything about it. But what am I going to do moving forward? What kind of person am I going to be moving forward? And then my wife has the choice to accept this person or not accept this person, or, hey, it's going to take, whatever time she feels to regain that trust. But at least for me, I know that I've kind of put that person in the past. Sorry, that
Mhm.
was rambling a little bit, but that helped me move on mentally instead of also beating myself up relentlessly about the mistakes that I made.
It's good.
Amy's
That's good.
speechless.
What are you asking me?
Just as far as like the reset goes on your end, is that
I
something?
thought it was really hard. I think for you, it was like, okay, well, I'm just going to be a new person starting tomorrow and everything will be fine. And I will try to fix everything that I've done. I think what can really hurt like not hurt, but I think the struggle can be sometimes is that the other person that's been damaged for so long, in our situation, I'm like, I became a different person. I had to do everything. I felt like my feminine got taken out of me because I became the masculine in our home. And so my personality was like changed. I became not just upset with him in our situation, but with like other people that were involved. Does that make sense? So there was a forgiveness in other areas too, along with you. But my personality got changed in our situation because became the full-on financial provider for so many years that I tapped straight into my masculinity. Like I had to give myself my security, my financial security, my emotional protection, like became all on me. And while I was raising the kids. The point is like sometimes the other person gets changed too, and it's not always a great thing. I'm not giving like excuses for it, But just because the person that did the damage is like, okay, I'm going to change and everything's better. Like, I think they have to be patient with the person that has
Oh
been done to
yeah,
that
for
because it's
sure.
going to take a lot of healing on both sides, right? So, my entire point is like, it changes us too. It changes both people. And so, that patience and that communication on both sides is so equally important because I will probably never be the same person I was before this happened either. And I think that trials like this, like, change us
For sure.
completely.
I agree 100%. I often feel like when something like this happens, one spouse will look at it as like they're the victim, which they are, and then they look at it from the other spouse as like, oh, it's so easy just to say you're sorry and then be forgiven. Those of you who are in a marriage where you've either been on the receiving end of lost trust in your spouse because of something they've done, or you're the spouse that has done something to make your spouse lose trust in you, they both suck. They both are horrible because I can tell you from my standpoint, and I'm sure a lot of you out there that have done things to hurt your spouse, the guilt that you feel towards yourself is beyond the punishment you'd ever want on someone else. I mean, the guilt that you
Mhm.
feel for making the mistake or betraying your spouse or hurting them in that way, that guilt, I don't think couples realize, especially if they're on the receiving end, they often look at it and say, you've hurt me and nothing's happened to you. But I think you have to have some mercy and recognize that the spouse who did the betrayal, so to speak, is probably feeling so much guilt and discouragement and different things for the pain and the things that they've done that they're going through their own hell as well. And again, that's just where a couple hopefully can get together and like I said, try to hit a reset button. It might not reset everything, but at least be able to move forward in a positive direction because both of you are going through those different feelings that are very, very, very painful and you got to come together to be able to move on, I guess is what I'm saying. And that
Mhm.
sometimes is very, very hard to do. Like I said, talking about patience and things like
A lot
that.
of couples don't make it. But I mean, I think the whole message is it all comes down to teamwork, right? So if you want to build emotional intimacy and connection and then rebuild that foundation, you have to come to a point, a breaking point where you're like, okay, I'm willing to forgive you. You're really sorry. Like I can feel that you're really sorry. And I want to forgive you, and you have to turn it over to God. Like it's
Yeah.
just literally that's what it takes.
So for all of you that
Literally what it takes.
have emailed us or messaged us and say, you guys have the perfect marriage, you don't even know what we're going through, and you just act like everything's perfect. This episode will let you know that we have been to hell and back, and it's
Well, everyone's hell is different.
and everyone's is different, right? We recognize that everyone's
We
going
could
through
have
different
way
things, right?
worse. We understand there are way worse things. Like, believe me, we understand there are way worse things than what we've
And
ever
we've
been
been
through.
lucky
We get
enough that we
that.
haven't, there's certain things that we haven't gone through that many of you have experienced. And
Right.
so again, we recognize everyone has their unique challenges, the different struggles, the different things that they've gone through, and we don't minimize that. But
Hmm.
this is a podcast episode where we're being real. We've gone through some tough things, and we that almost completely broke us, and I think we're still healing from it. And so it's an ongoing process. But again, like we always talk about, there is the opportunity to find that ultimate intimacy in your relationship, and that's what we're trying to share with you. Is that it's still obtainable. You can still get there, even if you've been through some really difficult challenges, maybe a betrayal or loss of trust or things like that as well.
Yeah, I really think that Jesus heals.
Jesus heals.
Jesus
What a great
heals.
way to end this
I don't know
episode.
what else to say. Like, I don't know how couples make it through without Jesus.
Yeah,
Like for real. But yeah, that's all I got
agreed.
to say about that. Yeah, he'll help you. You have to
So,
turn stuff over to him a lot in marriage.
yeah, I think that's great advice to close this out. That if you're really struggling with this, regardless of what end you're on, pray together, pray for forgiveness,
Right.
pray to be stronger, to be more open and transparent, pray for each other and for your marriage. And like
You
you said,
got this.
he'll really help you through it.
You
So,
got this. Marriage is hard, guys. Marriage is hard. We get it. Oh, we get it. And we haven't been through half the stuff that you guys message and email us about. If you are at a really hard place and you need a therapist who is amazing, please email us. We are working on a really awesome project we're excited to announce, hopefully in the next couple months, and also help people in really hard situations. And yeah, yeah, we're here for you. So
yep. So
we get it.
we appreciate you listening to the podcast. We hope you get something out of this. And until next time, we hope all of you find ultimate intimacy in your relationship.